How's it going? Manuel, what up, dude? Hi! Awesome, thanks for joining, man. Can you hear the music okay? If I were to play a violin, it would look like this. What up, what up? Let a few people join, jump on, and we'll get this party started. Get yourself a beverage. This week I'm drinking Blood Orange IPA from Backstreet Brewing in Anaheim, and we'll get to that in a sec. What up, Matt? Hey, how you doing, man? It's good to meet you, and thank you for joining. Woo woo! If you can hear me okay and hear the music okay, someone give me a thumbs up. The music for this evening is the ArchAndroid, the first full-length album from Miss Janelle Monáe, one of my faves. I love her, and it was 10 years with that album released, so that's going to help drive a little bit of this piece as well as the beer. Might be a little on the nose, some ideas already started forming, but we'll see where the night takes us. Get yourself a beverage. You have a couple people that are on right now. I'll go over my piece from last week, which actually was, I think, pretty friggin' rad. I'm working on cardboard as I usually do. I might incorporate this heavy sticker, but I'm working on cardboard. Got my stapler, trusty stapler, which usually is what happens. Magazines. I got some ads. This book about beer, which might be incorporated tonight with the idea I kind of got thinking of. And then this is my coloring book that I put out with all the objects and my stamp pop stuff, including my face. Coloring book style, but they're also spaced to where you can cut them out and use them as collage, which I might do. We'll see. But let's get this party rolling officially. So the ArchAndroid is playing 10-year anniversary from Janelle Monáe, our first full-length album. I'm going to get more into that in a second because there's some story behind it and that I think is pretty rad and might work conceptually. But let's start with our beer. Here's the beer I'm drinking tonight. It's Blood Orange IPA from Backstreet. I'm going to show my other camera over here because that goes to YouTube. That's what we're going to start. Real quick, last week I drank one of the All-Togethers. This one was the one from Bottle Logic, and I have one. As you can see, I got a little gallery wall going of all my collages, and they're all painter's taped on there. I don't want to peel the paint, so they might fall off in the middle of this, but they're all with their beers. And this one was right up over here. This is the Bottle Logic one. That one right there is the green cheek one. You can't see it in this camera. Sorry. But we were listening to Little Richard. He had passed away just before that Wednesday. And so I kind of commemorated with these being piano keys made out of snack boxes. So I used these Little Bites muffins, and I used Bodhi Leaf coffee K-cups. That's what I used. That's what the white cardboard is, and it's even they're stapled on there. You look closely, you see the staples. But they're piano keys arranged in the all-together letters. So I felt that the music he created and the influence he had on rock and roll and soul brought so many people together, just as beer does, and as this beer was designed to do, to help fund out-of-work hospitality workers. So that's where this came in. That's the beer I was drinking last week. But that was last week. This is this week, as I mentioned. Backstreet Brewing, Blood Orange IPA. It's phenomenal for this weather. It's about to get hit a little bit hotter this week and into the weekend. Hey, Mom. So go ahead and pour yourself a beer. I'm working on cardboard. So the way our classes normally start, some of you may have done it, some of you may have not, but we go through a sensory kind of about our beer. The point is to get you kind of in the mindset of creating, in the mindset of thinking descriptively and thinking about your experience. So, oh man, I can smell the hops and citrus, the blood orange right now. Oh, that's freaking gorgeous. Even the color definitely has a nice little golden color to it. We'll get to that in a second, but we're working off a blood orange IPA. Let me make sure we can see that. There we go. I can see it in both cameras. Bada bing, bada boom. Felt it approach to go ahead and use my orange Sharpie. We're visual creatures. We start with looking at it, find a consistent light source, and look at your beverage, look at your beer. How does it look? What color does it look like? And what does it look like? So in this case, I'm going to write, and I already know where this piece is going to go. It's going to go up here. So I'm going to have to orient it in landscape horizontally. Something might change that later, and I'll welcome it. But for right now, I'm going to use that constraint to go ahead and help with my composition. But let's start sensory. I write literally on here. So if the notes are in here, if you look at many of my pieces that I've posted, you can see the notes in the background. But right now, the way this one looks, it is definitely golden to amber in color. And it's clear, super clear. Right now, there's a little bit maybe like chill haze. I can see my fingers through it. You can see my thumb, I think. Yeah, you can see my thumb if you look in the camera. Hell yeah. That's clear as fuck. It's golden to amber color, which are the official colors of rating as beer. Then there's it's clear. I'm gonna write clear AF. I believe it's meant to be a West Coast IPA. That usually pairs well. A lot of them. I'm not sure which hops are in here. But I'm still not the best with my hop palette to be able to like, oh yeah, that's that one and that's that one. Not quite, but if they're pairing it with blood orange, I'm assuming they probably have some Citra, maybe some Amarillo, some things that do have a little bit more of the citrusy flavors to it, notes to it. But that's at least what it looks like, and it looks freaking pretty. The head is pretty tight. Oh man, it smells so good. After we look at it, we always smell it. So you look at it, give it a smell. You want the head, all the little bubbles pop, and it's nice olfactory senses. It ends up popping and giving you bits of aroma. So head retention is necessary. My glasses are getting old, so my head might reduce, but give it a smell. It does smell a little on the, it's like candy. Whenever I have blood orange or I have like a grapefruit IPA where those flavors are added into it, I get a different kind of sweetness. I don't know if they do something else with the malt, but it smells like it's like orangey candy is what it always smells like. And I get that taste as well, which olfactory is about 75% of your taste buds. But that's what it smells like. I do get citrus for sure, but it's like citrus candy. Citrus candy-ish. And I don't pick up on any other like resin or pine or anything else that usually comes in a West Coast IPA, or you might get out of a West Coast IPA depending on the hops. I don't get any like tropical fruit flavor. It's mostly like this it's like sweet citrus, like sweet orange. So now we're gonna look at it. I want you to look and smell before you taste. But yeah. Oh yeah. So there's definitely a little of that like that sweet orange candy on the front. Sweet orange candy. But then as it hits my tongue and starts to go back, that's where you get a little bit you get a lot more of that West Coast bitter. There's a little bit of fruitiness in the front end with that sweet orange candy. I'll say that in the front. And the West Coast bitter in the middle to end. And I think that's a lot from the blood orange. Blood oranges can be a little almost like raspberry bitter tart. We'll be happy. I'll be explaining the musical choice in a little bit because I think it might tie into a little bit of what a preformed idea came with this piece. But West Coast bitter in the middle is what it tastes like. And now I want you to one more time look at it and smell it. But this time before you taste it, I want you to actually pay attention to how it coats the mouth. So we'll do mouthfeel. Definitely dry. It's not too bubbly, but it's dry. It's quenching at first, but then the dryness takes over at the end and it makes you want another sip. So I'll say quenching up front. But definitely dry, which is good classic West Coast is like that. Yeah, that's hitting it right there. Now we've gone through what it looks like, what it smells like, what it tastes like, and what the mouthfeel is like. I wrote those notes down. Normally in my class we go through a little bit more of the reasons how these things came to be, generally, and that helps tie in the parallel with beer. For this purpose, I just want you to go through the sensory aspect, whether you're drinking beer at home or whether you have another beverage or something, or even if you don't have a beverage to go off of. If you can describe something, it helps get you a little bit in the mindset I mentioned in the beginning, to think descriptively and think experientially. And so once we go through a bit of the sensory, I also now ask about memories. So usually when I drink beer, it reminds me of the times I drank beer. So when I hear music, same thing. When I eat certain food, same thing. Certain architecture, art, different colors, strokes, lines, textures, all those things might remind me or remind you of something else. Same thing with beer, and many people have it. There's literally apps out there now that you upload your beer count so you can go back and reference, because you have so many, you know, it's like, oh, this tastes like something, what is it? So this reminds me, like I mentioned, is that kind of candy flavor when I have something that is usually with blood orange, or grapefruit. And that candy flavor, the first time I really remember having it was grapefruit sculpin from Ballast Point. Grapefruit. That's kind of what this is going to give me, a similar vibe. Grapefruit sculpin. Which reminds me of many a poolside. Drinking cans of that or even bottles of that. When was the first time I may have had that? That might be hard to find that actual memory. And Alexis, what up? Oh, MJ, what up? Hi, thanks for joining. If you are just jumping on right now, I'm drinking Blood Orange IPA from Backstreet Brewing. I'm showing my other camera here. This is gorgeous golden to amber color. It definitely smells like sweet orange. It doesn't smell like quite like a bitter blood orange. And I always get a candy flavor when I have blood orange or grapefruit in my IPAs. But there's bitter midway or back on. Joel, what up, dude? Thanks for joining. But that's what this one is reminding me of, is some of grapefruit sculpin. It's not quite as tart, but it has that citrusy candy flavor, which I usually pick up. Now, we've already gone through my notes, so if you want to go ahead and go through some sensory, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it tastes like, what it feels like, all those are by. Yes, hello, mijo, hola. But this, you then go through memories. So go through some sensory, then go through some memories, and gets you in the mindset. This is reminding me of grapefruit sculpin. That memory might come into play. But now I will explain some of the music you're listening to. This is the album, the ArchAndroid. It was the first full-length album. I'm going to write it down, actually. First full-length album from Janelle Monáe, and it just celebrated 10 years. Came out 10 years ago, I think yesterday, technically. This is like, it's the first full-length album, and her first three. The first one was an EP called The Chase Suites, #1. Then it has ArchAndroid, then there's Electric Lady, and I'm a big fan of rock and roll and a big fan of rock operas. Tommy and Quadrophenia by The Who are some of my favorites. There are several out there, but I really, really, really fell in love with Joe's Garage by Frank Zappa. And this reminds me a lot of the concepts in that, and some of even the tonality and some of the melodies, but just without the upfront comedy section part of it, where it's not meant to be like funny satire, But essentially what happens, this album particularly has the second and third suites, but she describes herself as an android, something that's man-made and different than human. I'm assuming based on her being black and her being queer. And this was 10 years ago, so I don't think this was necessarily public at the time, but it was her persona that she created, the ArchAndroid Cindy Mayweather. In the first album, or the first EP, she falls in love with a human, and that's against the rules for androids. So then they allowed a hunt to go and capture the android, and then disassemble it and rebuild it into something else. And the story and the message of that actually ties with how we treat each other, treat people that are different than us, I think is hugely powerful, and I've grown very, 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 very fond of her music and her message and her being just in general outside of music. Aside from loving the way her voice sounds, loving the music that she helps produce and the way that she performs. But this album, now 10 years, goes further into that story where now Cindy Mayweather is starting to run away, starting to escape, figuring those things out for herself, and then building a revolution, which turns into the third album called Electric Lady. And then she released her fourth album, was in 2018. Was nominated for best album for a Grammy, called Dirty Computer. And it's similar message, but it is more about her, not this fictional android Cindy Mayweather, but essentially her being a dirty computer and coming in to get wiped clean and being saved and rebooted, essentially. The social commentary is phenomenal. So this album means quite a bit to me. It's something that my daughter now loves all of her music, listens to often. I find it inspiring on multiple levels. So this album is already huge, and I have something brewing in my head around a blood orange, not necessarily looking like a regular orange, and we'll see where that goes. But the ArchAndroid, and now let's go ahead and start getting some pieces to be able to work with. So I have the ArchAndroid's plans 10 year, and I think sort of my concept is going to be based off of this based off the music, and based off of Blood Orange. I need to write that. Blood Orange IPA from Backstreet Brewing. I don't know if Britt's on right now. B, what's up? Britt, tasting manager from Backstreet. I think she was going to try to come on, but if you haven't met her, don't know her out in the beer world, she's a phenomenal individual. She made a bunch of masks for like days to give out, and they still give them out at Backstreet. So if you go pick up any beer from them, and they also have some specials as well. I had a Mexican lager that was phenomenal. Super clear, super clean. The perfect amount of corn. I got that, crushed that last weekend, and then I got their ESB, the 21st anniversary ESB, 21st, 20th ESB. But if you're not familiar, if you've seen them, they're actually affiliated with Lamppost Pizza. This is their main large brew house and tasting room in Anaheim, right by the Angel Stadium. That's essentially what we're doing. What? It's featuring Big Boy from Outkast. He kind of discovered her, actually. But here's my sensory notes. And my concept essentially is going to be the ArchAndroid, but it's going to be, I don't know, maybe a regular orange sees a blood orange, like, hey dude, you look different, let's party. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I don't want it to be cheesy, but we're going to look at some of the imagery and see if I might be able to find something that fits something that concept. But I'm going to be looking for something that I can turn into a blood orange. I doubt I can find an actual literal blood orange in the materials I got. And what I'm looking for, I have ads, so I'm sure to be able to find some oranges in one of these grocery store ads. I have this beer book of awesomeness. I haven't used it yet, but I might be able to find some imagery in here that could tie to sort of acceptance and togetherness, essentially. And then I have a bunch of different magazines that I've used and already pilfered through the past ones. All the past ones are on this little gallery behind me. These are cabinets in my garage. And these are the beers that came with. And then the one I did from last week was this All Together piece. But they're meant to be piano keys to celebrate little Richard. Boom. Friday 3-7. Ah, yes. So Backstreet, if you do go to Backstreet, pick up some beer. They're open Fridays from 3 to 7 for beer to go. Thanks, MJ, for tossing that in the comments. I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get some images. I'm gonna look for orange right now, basically. Concept ArchAndroid with blood oranges. That's what I'm gonna try to look for. I'm most likely gonna work on this. I might be able to turn this in here. Oh, thank you so much. It's all put on with painter's tape, so most likely something's probably gonna fall during the middle of this live. But I'm gonna look for oranges real quick. So this one up here was a Buddha hands. I grabbed oranges out of that, but made it into a hand, like a citrusy Buddha hand. So I've already done one that has orange depiction. So I don't want to necessarily go down the same road, even though the message of this piece will be completely different. But I might see, we'll see where it goes. Who knows, man? That's just where the idea formulated as I was setting some stuff up. But right now, if you've gone through some of your sensory, I recommend doing that because it gets your mind moving, it gets your mind going. If you're able to describe your beer, describe your beverage or whatever you're drinking, or if you don't have a beverage, if you have something, describe it, the way it looks, the way it smells, the way it feels, the way it tastes. I mean, if you're going to describe your scissors, maybe not eat them. I don't recommend that. But that's up to you. Do you, boo. But I'm going to try to find, right now, no big oranges right now. That would be the easiest thing to do, would be an orange, a blood orange. But I don't know, my idea I think can kind of work, but it also seems kind of freaking cheesy. So we'll see where it goes. But if you're already past your sensory and you're kind of getting a little bit of an idea down, you can sketch if you feel comfortable with it. Not everyone does, and so normally in my class I don't necessarily force that. And what you're seeing right here is real fucking time. This is me looking through this. Oh, I found these oranges right here. These are small, so I might be able to cut them out individually and turn them into little pieces. What's on the inside of that? Any more oranges? No other oranges. Let me go ahead and cut this out, at least as one whole. No, it's on the inside. Yeah, so you're seeing this real time. If you're looking through your images, you're doing the same thing I'm doing right now. The point of this live session and these little not your average quarantine nights is for you to kind of let loose, get out of your own fucking head, and create something dope. So there doesn't need to be rhyme and reason. I'm challenging myself to have this and the music be my inspirational guide. That's my own challenge. You don't have to do that. Just do whatever you want. I share a bunch of collage artists some oranges. I just don't know if they're big enough. I might have to separate them to get some space and be able to fill some space on my piece. But sorry, my point being is you don't need to do that. This is your opportunity to cut out some weird shit and see how some of those things might fit together. So that might be as simple as it is. Maybe I don't go so cheesy and I actually find something that I might be able to put ahead, like put an orange or oranges with as a blood orange, and I don't know, something might come of it, and you'll see that as it comes. If I don't finish, cool. That's not the point. If you don't finish, also cool. Take your time. I'll finish this by the time next Wednesday rolls around. This is my 9th one. The only one that actually did complete was last week's. Z, hi. Was last week's, and that's because it just flew, or the flow, and it just came out. It was easy. Some weeks, not so much. You're seeing it real time. And I pride myself in being able to think like quick creative stuff. I think I do that really well. And another one, second ad. So I got more. Woohoo! And these ones are sliced. I can actually be able to color them maybe with my orange, or if I might need to grab a red marker. So all the materials I have. So if you've done my class normally, or if you follow along, you know that we usually work on wood. I got a plethora of materials. I got all different kinds of paint, paint and primer. I have tracing paper and graphite paper and all these magazines. But for this purpose, I want to make this as approachable as possible. If you are creating at home and you're a little bit it's kind of daunting just to start and do something, I want to make it as approachable as possible. And by that, if I was using all these fancy materials that you may not be able to use, I think it's hard to envision yourself being able to do something. Collage is what I've been doing for these. These are all collages. I'm working on cardboard with a fucking stapler pretty much. And I'm not caring exactly how it looks, letting the composition kind of flow as the pieces fit, trying to find ways to make things more dynamic with harsh angled edges and sort of color pop. And those things you can kind of do. But you can do, these are ads. You can do it with junk mail. If you have magazines, you can do all of these things. Something to attach it to, stapler, tape, something to work on, piece of cardboard. All you guys are getting deliveries all the time. Even if you're getting beer deliveries, you're getting it probably in a little box. And then some imagery. You don't have to be able to paint, you don't have to be able to draw. This is not step by step. I'm going through more of the step by step of the creative process. And what's great about collage, and I say it week in and week out, that because you can cut things out, you can work with scale and play with scale in a funny way, or you can embrace that non-perfection of the scale being off, and you can move them around and twirl them and see how it works till you come to a composition. You're like, fuck, I like that. I like how this actually lays perfectly like this and not have all this space over here, but I kind of dig that. And maybe you don't normally dig that, but that's the beauty, is now you can sit here and look at it and go like, you can embrace that slight imperfection because you made it. And it's trash to begin with, so if you don't fucking like it, throw it away. No big. Like, I don't even have, like, this is even a real wall. And they were just stacking up, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to put them up, tape them up on the wall behind me. Alright, so I found my oranges. I'm gonna see if I can find any more, because there might even be more. Peaches, I looked through these ones already, I did. Oranges. What else? I want to try to find something larger, and I'll tell you why and what I mean by that. So, here's the oranges that I found. I'm drinking Blood Orange IPA if you're just jumping on right now. Blood orange is, if you slice it in half, you see the flesh is like this reddish color. I was reading up on it more. I didn't know much about it. I'm a bit of a plant geek. But blood oranges are still a regular orange, but when they fruit, it's during colder nighttime temperatures. And so a lot of blood oranges happen in the Mediterranean, to where though fall and winter during their growth season, it's colder at night, and that ends up making the blood orange bloody inside, and then it enhances as if you put it in a refrigerator or something like that. So cold ends up enhancing that deep red color, and it's from a certain chemical compound, like in the soil or something like that. Or in the air, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But that's what I'm drinking. So I have these two identical orange things. I'm going to try to cut these out because look at these just by themselves. It's tiny on this big old piece. Alright? So I'm going to try to fill up more space. And right now my concept is kind of have a little bit of this blood orange, but playing off the fact that it looks a little bit different than your average orange. And that is going to tie into the themes behind this album and others from Janelle Monáe, about her being an android. This is called the ArchAndroid, celebrated its 10 years. Her being an android and falling in love with the human, and that's illegal in this like dystopian society she paints. But her being different is viewed negatively. So I'm trying to find something around that with a blood orange. Don't know if that's where it's gonna go, but this is not filling up enough space. So I'm gonna need to find some other images, and It might just be shit. It might just be other fruits and vegetables or other things that I might be able to find within beer. There's grain, a bowl of rice or something that I might be able to play off and use as grain. I don't know, and like having a party and welcoming them in, something like that. But I have another ad down here. Let's see if I can find some larger oranges. And this is the part of the evening that I don't know if you're waiting for step by step or you're not used to whatever I do on this live session. This might be where it gets boring because I'm not having luck finding images. But you know what? You at home might also not be having luck finding images. So that's kind of the point. Is this is meant to be this sort of real time me going through what you're going through alongside. If you're just watching for humor's sake, you can just laugh at me. Oh, see, this is where I had oranges here, and that came in. That's what that Buddha Hand Zest beer turned into. Those were much larger. That's a big turkey. It might take some space. I'm curious. I didn't grab any other culinary magazines that I have, so that is what it is. You may not have culinary magazine at home. Who knows? Any more oranges? A lot of fucking turkeys. Where? It's not turkey season. What is this? Maybe it's chicken. No, fuck. No oranges. More fruit, but they're all still small. I don't think that's gonna work. All right. One idea. I think there's pictures of beer in here. Yeah, there's a can. I have this picture of a can. I might be able to use something like that also, but I don't want it to be too on the nose. Like, hey, here's the blood orange in the beer. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. Nothing wrong if you want to go ahead and do that. I just want to challenge myself to find a little bit of a deeper or a different meaning behind what this is doing, and not so on the nose. That's just my own personal challenge. I doubt anything in Esquire, Anaheim magazine. We'll see. We might have to jump to alternative plan B. Let's see, maybe Oprah magazine. There's usually recipes in the back. Maybe there's something with oranges or citrus or something. Oh, booyah! Boo fucking yah. Check it. Look at that. Look at that. What's that? Oh, what's this one? Oh, blood orange. Yep. Gosh. Scored again. Last time I had this much of a breakthrough was this coffee bean lapel on a Gucci ad in Esquire magazine as I went through the second time at the end of the class, look at the end of the session for this coffee shop vibes for Green Cheek's new adventures, the golden milk stout with a nitro golden milk stout with coffee. Within the last 5 minutes, I found it. And I couldn't find anything really coffee related, and I was like, "Whoa, I got it!" I might come back to this salad right here, but I don't know. I already dig this layout's already pretty rad, but let's see what I might be able to do with this. These ones I might come back to. Let me think. So I have some citrus here. Let's see what else I might be able to find. I do like the beer. Let's see. Her name was Mary. Beer drinking basics. No, this is all like a party book. Those are all beer games. I might use the can look. I might use this. This is in a couple spots. This can graphic, but I don't think I need it right now. Yeah, see, these three are blood oranges. 1, 2, 3. I think those are blood oranges. Some of this is grapefruit, for sure. Orange, lemon. I don't see a lime, but Juicy fruits, chunky bowls, crunchy snacks. I do like these. I'm gonna start cutting some of these out and playing around. Let's see. Think about my message. Like I said, I didn't want it to be too cheesy, and I didn't want to be too on the nose. But I've already done a piece where I have certain images on as heads on people. Maybe I'll switch it around. And I want them to be welcoming, like accepting. They look different. Let's be accepting. So maybe I'll take some of these different ones and I'll find arms and legs from people. So see this one right here, it's kind of hard to see, and this camera won't see it, but it's got two figures and it has a pomegranate on one head and it has a diamond chocolate on the other. But I think I'll actually do the reverse and do these as people, maybe in walking up, and I know this is going to be oriented this way, it's going to go up there. So have them walk. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. This might come back around. I don't know. I might turn the ad into something that has a bit of the message. But yeah, I'm gonna cut some of these out and turn them into them as the body and give them hands. That's what I'm gonna do. Turn them into little people. Let's grab the blood orange. This one's larger. I'm gonna use that one first. Try to find ones that are mostly more whole, maybe. Cut out. What are you guys drinking out there? If anyone wants to type in what beverage you might be enjoying or describing, toss it in there. I'm curious to know. So I mentioned I'm drinking Backstreet Brewing over by the Angel Stadium. It's their larger brew house and tasting room of Lamppost Pizza, Backstreet, and Blood Orange IPA. They're open Fridays from 3 to 7. Ryan, what up, homie? So that's where I got this Blood Orange IPA from. But yeah, they'll be open in 2 days, Friday from 3 to 7. Got my blood orange. So, if you're just jumping on, I mentioned this I think last time when you jumped on, but if you're just jumping on right now, got blood orange IPA. Try not to be so on the nose, but I want it to be a little tongue-in-cheek because this album does remind me a little bit of Frank Zappa's Joe's Garage. This is ArchAndroid by Janelle Monáe. And there's similarities there, yes, and some in melody, some in theatrics. But basically, it's the second and third part of a 4-part suite. Basically, this album is 10 years old now, and it's about an android that fell in love with a human, and that was not allowed, and so she ran away, and then now. Basically, a revolution is forming that goes into her third album in the 4th suite. So I'm trying to build a little bit of a piece, maybe about acceptance and equality, maybe, but of citrus fruits. I happen to just fucking find this. I couldn't find one. I'm drinking blood orange. Looks weird when you cut one open. You're like, what the hell? So don't discriminate. You know, make it into beer and juice, and I don't know. I think there's a message there without being too fucking cheesy. I don't know, but I think there's something there. So I'm gonna cut out. I have this blood orange, and I'm gonna turn them into little people, arms and legs. Then I have these other citrus fruits that I'll be able to grab. Try to find ones that are more whole. These look like regular orange. This looks like a tangerine. This one's probably a regular orange right here. And a lemon. They're not going to be perfectly round, but I might be able to manipulate that a little bit more. It just, this page is already striking. As soon as I came across it, boom. But this is a lemon. I'll take that. And I'll take grapefruit as like some of the more regular. Oh no, if you guys aren't Janelle Monáe fans, we might not be able to be friends from here on out. She's just a stellar human being, and a stellar musician. And now my daughter not only loves Janelle Monáe, but she loves the word stellar. She said it before this started. Alright, Z, you got a pina colada? Oh, he said no, you're drinking, a Pepsi, but a pina colada would be nice. Yes, it would. I'm not a big coconut fan, but I'm down. I'll do it. I'll try anything thrice. Lemon, orange. There's this Big Daddy grapefruit right here. It's probably the best to be able to see. Plus, size-wise, it makes sense. I need to fill up some space. I don't think I'm going to use the cardboard. So I'm going to use it on the cardboard, but I think I'm going to have to cover up my cardboard. Because it's hard. These don't really pop that well. If I do have something that is white, I might be able to use... The last piece I did, I already used white cardboard and popped the white. So I don't know if I want to do that either. I might try to find some other way, other color or colors that might be able to be lighter and muted to go behind it. But I don't know if we're gonna get to that in time. Sorry, 7:42. Damn it. Time flies and you're having fun trying to find fucking pictures of citrus. Tell you what. Big Daddy grapefruit. Alright, I got all four. Grapefruit, lemon, orange, and a blood orange. I don't know. We'll see where this concept comes from. I'm gonna try to find some arms and feet. Maybe not full legs, but arms and feet, or hands and feet. Maybe given the size of these now. But I wanted to fill up a little bit of space. I don't mind negative space. I'm gonna put them down on the ground as if they're standing. So like it'll be this. The bottom of the piece will be the floor, most likely. Maybe raised up a little bit. Ooh, maybe I do this piece black. How would that look on the... Let me see what that would look like if I had to color this black. Since I already did white... Might take more Sharpies than I got. Does that pop? No, dude. I don't think it pops as much as it would on white. I think it might have to be white. Dang, I wanted to vary it from last week. I didn't want it to be the same. Well, this is a cover with, or this is a collab with Of Montreal. This is 10 years ago. See, I still have white back ends of the cardboard. I did that last week. I don't like to repeat the same themes or techniques, so I might have to think a little bit more on that. K-Dub, what up? I'm drinking Blood Orange IPA from Backstreet. I found some citrus, blood orange included. Listening to Janelle Monáe's The ArchAndroid, celebrating 10 years. This piece is going to be a little bit about acceptance of different looking fruits. Something like that. So that's where I'm going with right now. I'm trying to get this to pop. I just don't think it's going to pop right now. It doesn't. I don't think it pops enough on the cardboard. I already used the whites. Oh no, we'll see. I'm gonna start looking. I'm turning these into people though, into humans. So I'm gonna grab some feet or hands and arms, or feet and legs, Let's grab a Esquire. Looking for smaller pics. But even like this size, like I've already done this motif where I put it on top of a body. But I want where just like the arms are coming out. That Oprah one might work. Let's see. These too big. Let's see what that size would look like. I think the scale is alright, but these are a little bit too aggressive. If I want this to be more about acceptance, maybe I'm looking for handshakes or hugs or less aggressive and threatening gestures. But again, it might just be hands. That would look funnier, but the album's about she's an android that fell in love with a human that was against the law, and she was getting hunted to be disassembled, and then she builds a revolution. So this album particularly is the second of her first three albums, and it actually has two parts in this one, so parts 3 and parts 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're watching all this in real time. So I'm going through trying to find whatever I can find that works for kind of my concept, and then go from there. So I'll adjust accordingly. You gotta kind of accept it for what it is. Ooh, this is nice. They're all just kind of hanging out, chilling. I like that. I might be able to use that. That would actually make it real easy if I were just to be able to put these, cut them out, but cut out the heads. Yeah, and reassemble, and that's sort of this similar. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Where does this fit on top of here? Oh yeah, so if I was just going to quickly measure, right? So you look at how big this is. If I were to quickly measure, just to see, well, these pieces, if I cut them out and put their arms and bodies around, I can it's big enough, it'll fit. It'll fit on this piece of cardboard, like that. If I were to rearrange them, or arrange them similarly, but with the fruit in their legs and hands. So I'm not going to make this any harder than it is. I got 10 minutes, I'm going to rip this out, or 12 minutes. I'm going to rip this out and go ahead and cut off their hands and arms. This is where technology can come in handy. If I had my phone, but it's up there doing live. If I had my phone, I'd take a picture so I'd be able to recreate the same. But I think I can figure it out and get them to kind of sit and hang in the same way. If not, I can rearrange it to where it works better on the piece of cardboard. If I need to find something behind it. But basically, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I have 4 here. I like things in odd numbers, so I might find one more, like tangerine or something, and have 1, 2, this girl, 3, 4, 5, or yeah, 5. They're all pretty much 5 separate ones. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. They're all actually pretty separate to where I can get probably most of their. I can get most of their arms and legs. Yeah, boom. Let's fucking do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the one sitting down. Not the one on the ground. So I can go ahead and rip through her almost. But her arm. Yeah, I gotta be careful around the arm right there. One of the arms goes through the crease, so I'm gonna have to put them back together. Okay. Whew. Clean break. A pretty clean break right there. 1. 2. They're all chilling. I like those poses. I might be able to recreate that. Oh, here's a circle. Maybe I combine the two. Pull some of these. If I can get arms. I like they're all in embrace and all in a circle. Huh. Yeah, I might play around with that. Maybe I won't do... I'll do a couple of these. I like their poses and I like the way those are... Maybe this one might work better. These are just chilling, but these... I like the fact that these people are in embrace. I just wonder how I can pull the middles out and separate each of their middles. Would it have the same... If I cut off the arms, or like cut the bodies out and just have the arms over, I don't think it'll have... I don't think you'd be able to get that same feel. Fuck. I don't know. We'll see. Anything else in this? I have other magazines I can still look for. So we're within 10 minutes left, by the way. This is the point where I tell you, hey, if you don't finish, no problem. As you can tell, I am not finished. I didn't even really get through enough to be able to show some composition. But I think where I'm going with right now is I'm going to have these sit just like how they were sitting here. Only I'm going to cut out all the background, just have their arms. I might find something else to pop back behind here. But I want them to all be rearranged onto the piece of cardboard with their body, heads, their more of their essence as the citrus fruits, blood orange being one of them from the beer I'm drinking. And I want them to kind of be hanging out, chilling, meaning a little bit more of acceptance, of different looking, a little bit more than what I can say for this photo shoot with a bunch of white girls. But we'll see where that goes. And if you don't finish, no problem. If it isn't perfect, also no problem. I've already had to jump and dive through different things just trying to find the images that could work for my concept. And my concept might still tweak a little bit. I'm trying to hold true based on the beer I'm drinking and based on the ArchAndroid, the album from Janelle Monáe 10 years ago. This beer from Backstreet Brewing in Anaheim. But I'm trying to make these things work with what I got. That's kind of the point of this evening, is to work with what you got, to embrace a little bit of that imperfection and a little bit of that failure. Learn and play by doing and building. You're not going to get better at something until you do it. If you ever wanted to be able to draw and paint and build compositions, you don't need to be able to do drawing and painting to necessarily be a good artist. There are ways to communicate for artists, but you can still do a lot of that through collage. And I follow a ton of artists, especially my craft and arts page, and I share a lot of their collages that some are really out of this world. And right now, the way the world is at the moment, there's nothing wrong with doing some out of the box, out of this world kind of compositions, making dope shit in a not so dope time. So I do want to say thanks for joining Not Your Average Quarantine Night. This is my 9th one. Fuck. Yeah, if you count, there's 7 up there. The 8th one with the stickers you can't see in this camera was my all together piece with piano keys for Little Richard, based on this beer. All together, a worldwide collaborative with other half and other breweries. This one being Battle Logic, that one being Green Cheek. A collective effort to raise money for out of work hospitality workers. I thought it was a great cause, meaning all together. Beer brings people together. Let's work together to help. And that's also how I feel about the architect of rock and roll, Mr. Little Richard, and that's where this piece came. And so that concept came full circle. Most of them tend to. I'm right on there. It's just now got to work through this. So stay tuned for some more actual progress shots over the week. That one got done like the night of. That was just fluke chance that it happened to work. But this is going to take a little bit more time. So I'll be posting more. And I'll be testing out how it looks back behind them. And I might find some other ways to be able to separate the cardboard from the imagery to pull them out. And pull the fruit out So we'll see. We got 5 minutes. I'm going to go and start cutting these out, and it'll give me an alert in 2 minutes, and then I'll say one more final goodbye. Love you all. Thank you so much. Let's get these cut out. I'm definitely going to have to use my X-Acto knife on these ones. I'm just going to cut generally around them. I might be able to get this done before the 5 minutes is up, so we might be able to get a little bit of an idea of what it's going to look like and what I mean, I guess more importantly. Outside my window. I'm basically cutting out the torsos and the heads, and they'll be replaced with the fruit. So it'll be just the arms and the legs. This album's almost perfectly an hour. It's an hour and 8 minutes, so we won't quite finish it. Alright, just to give you an idea what I'm talking about. This idea might fall completely flat. Who fucking knows? Here's a bit of what I'm talking about. No, that won't work. Something like this, maybe. If anyone's still on. So if you look closely, she happens to have her hands on her knees. So basically, the blood orange is the body and the head with the arms. Once I cut and trim more around the actual arms and just have the body, this might not work. I might need to just do hands and feet, and I might come across that bridge when I come to it. But that might be what has to happen. But for right now, I'm gonna cut these out roughly rather than spending all my time trying to do it finely, only to find out that it might not actually work. So I'm doing it just as rough like that. And go, I don't know if I like that, and just having hands and feet might be what needs to happen. I won't have the same. I only have the same feeling of them just kind of hanging out and chilling and being cool with each other. I might lose that because you don't have some of that body language. We're within 2 minutes, by the way. We don't have that kind of body language shown, but I'll see and I'll share with that. This has probably been the most challenging piece yet. It's got a pretty deep concept with it. And just trying to make it work. Now that I'm nine in, I don't want to repeat other motifs that I've already done. I'm trying to differentiate that. So it's hard to do, and I have 8 prior. It's easy to be completely unique with all these because I hadn't done more before that. So we'll see. Oh, my sister's on. Kelsey, what up? We got a minute left. One more time. Backstreet Brewing, Blood Orange IPA. A little bitter, a little sweet, citrusy candy on the front. Bitter in the middle and the back. It's refreshing and dry. Great for the weather we're about to be having. They're open on Fridays from 3 to 7 to get beer to go. I had a Mexican lager. It was clean and clear as fuck. And I've had... They're hazy. It's like that one's hazy ex-girl. No, it was late to the party, I think. But yeah, grapefruit sucks. Blood orange though. Blood orange rules. But based on this piece, don't matter. We're all homies. That's what this is gonna be about. I'm listening to Janelle Monáe, ArchAndroid, 10-year anniversary, phenomenal album and a bit of a rock opera. That's what's driving this piece about acceptance. This is the final song we're getting into. Under 5 more seconds. Thank you. Hashtag not your average quarantine night. Pause due to poor connection. Oh.